All right, so when you think of healing, what is the first thing that you think about? Like, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of the concept of healing? Like, you're getting better, you're healing, you're going through your self-love, self-care journey, or your healing journey, whatever it means, right? For each individual person that's watching this right now. But I'm curious, like, what you actually thought about when you clicked on this video, and the first thing I said was healing. Like what type of emotions came up? Like, become very aware of, just like yourself right now, and like what you're feeling when you think about this process of healing and where I could be going with this video, right? Because the title is like, before I understood this about healing, it was pretty trash, and this is why I think most people don't heal. But the reason I think so is because, at least for me, like where I was in the past was when I heard the idea of healing, when I heard the idea of bettering myself, or becoming a healthier version of myself, right? When I had this idea, there was a lot of negative connotations to it. What do I mean by that? Well, it was like, I thought of healing, I thought it was boring. I'm like, I don't want to be like the monk type, the boring type. All my friends, they out having fun, they going to parties, they smoking, they drinking, they look like they turned up, they getting pleasure, they getting sex and drugs and all this stuff, right? So I'm like, okay, I don't want to be boring. Healing seems boring. Healing seems not cool. It seems painful. I'm gonna have to go through withdrawal system. Maybe you tried to heal in the past and it was really uncomfortable, really painful. You go through withdrawal symptoms, whatever it may be for your, again, individual process, individual journey. At least for me, starting off, I was still in that state of chasing pleasure endlessly, looking to just have sex at any cost, looking to just, pleasure my body at any cost, eat whatever food, drugs, alcohol, whatever, until, this momentum kind of picks up with that behavior, as all habits and patterns create in our lives, is eventually, the fruits of those habits or patterns of behavior come to fruition, right? And then you got to reap the rewards or consequences, whether those behaviors were truly healthy or not. And what I came to find out, like going through this journey of mine of life, as we all tend to do, I really wasn't happy with the results I was getting. I really wasn't happy with the results I was getting in my body, my energy levels, my relationships, my money, the way my life was structured in terms of the freedom I had. I wasn't able to come on here and make a video like this on Thursday. I'll probably be, at my 9 to 5 clocking in right now. So, through kind of me figuring out, like, okay, what I'm doing right now is not leading to the results I want. That led me to seeking more answers, right? That led me to going out there and searching, like, okay, what is this? Like, how can I improve? How can I be happier? How can I be have less anxiety? How can I have less stress? How can I be depressed less often? How can I become better, get better results? So, as you tend to go down that rabbit hole, you go through the self-improvement, the personal development, maybe the entrepreneurship, and there's a lot of different philosophies or schools of thought that come up. But one thing that stayed consistent, one thing that was consistently popping up, was this idea of healing, this idea of becoming healthier, right? It was refreshing to know that maybe I wasn't necessarily a broken individual at my core, but maybe I just had some bad programming, some bad beliefs, some bad things that happened in life, some bad experiences maybe, that led me to the way I'm acting right now. And only if I just come back to myself, come back to the healing process, will I ever find the joy and fulfillment that I seek, right? So this concept, this idea was new. It was something that was exciting. It was something that instilled that self-belief and this growth mindset in myself, like, oh, maybe I'm not broken. Maybe it's not something wrong with me. Maybe it's just this satanic society that, promotes evil, right? So, and evil thoughts, evil behaviors, and evil programming. So I'm like, okay, this starts to reveal itself to me as I seek more, as I go deeper down these different rabbit holes. I'm like, okay, there is some type of agenda that wants to keep people broke, fat, lazy, and stupid. And, in order to break this agenda, you have to go against the grain. And, this led to a spiritual journey, a spiritual awakening, finding faith in Christ. And really, I think coming to a holistic understanding of what it means to actually heal and why most people don't do it. And again, I think it goes back to the question I asked at the beginning of this video is, what do you think about when I say the word healing? Again, if you associate negative feelings, negative emotions, or a negative experience to any word or any experience or any journey, you're going to be less likely to actually go down the path. But let's say that, knowing what I know now about how good life can get, how happy you can actually be, how joyful you can actually be, how much abundance and life you can see all around you once you actually go through this healing process. It's like, coming from this standpoint, if only my past self knew how good it can get, I think I would have healed a lot faster. And that's specifically what I want to talk about in this video, is that the reason I believe most people don't heal is because they don't truly know how good it can actually get. They truly don't know the other side of the grass and like how green it can grow if only if you spend some time to go over there and water it, right? So, I think this is by design. I think this is something that is, again, programmed to not look at the grass is greener and stay so focused on the present moment. So what we're going to do in this video, is a pretty long intro and we kind of just rolling with it, right? Is I want to give you, in my opinion, some of the wisdom from the greatest healer of all time, the greatest healer that the world has ever seen. And how can we apply these principles to our own journey to, program ourselves to focus more on the future and like the positive benefits that we'll get from going down this journey, but really give you practical tools, practical steps that you can take right now to further your healing journey, accelerate your healing journey, and get closer to what you're looking for emotionally, just to be a happier individual, more joyful, more loving, more present. And I think coming from that place emotionally, coming from that state, you'll begin to attract a lot more of what you want in your life. So without further ado, the greatest healer of all time, Jesus Christ, what did he teach? What exactly was the message? I think a lot of people misconstrue it's like, he came to teach religion. He came to say like, hey, say these magic words and you'll be saved and you'll go to heaven in the afterlife. Well, that's one way of viewing the philosophy of Christ. I think through my study of the Bible and maybe like the original text in the Hebrew and the Greek, and really just like in plain English, what he came out and said, the first words of his ministry was, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. I have in my banner on my YouTube, seek ye first the kingdom and all its righteousness and all these things will be given unto you. And, the first question I asked when I heard that from the greatest healer of all time is like, what is the kingdom? Where do all these answers lie? How can I find this proverbial fountain of youth to accomplish all my goals and experience all the happiness and joy I want in my life? Well, again, this lets down journey. I think questions leads to journey. So I think people should ask more questions, become more curious with life, and you'd be surprised on the words that ring true. Seeking you shall find. But in general, like I said, when it comes to the philosophy of Christ and how he taught to get to the kingdom, get to the success, get to the fulfillment, don't worry about all these things. Do this thing first. How he said to get there wasn't necessarily like explicit. It wasn't necessarily like super practical. It wasn't like, hey, go do this. Hey, go do this. What did he do? He told stories about how good it can get, and then he became the proof. So it's like, many people associate Jesus with a miracle worker, but how many people associate like healing to miracles? People associate it with like negative process, and it's going to be trash, and it may work and may not work, and there's some doubt involved, and there's not really faith in like the healing journey. Like, can it really get better? Like, it is the grass really green on the other side? But what Jesus did, he didn't come challenging people's faith. He asked people why they didn't have faith, but he didn't come and say like, hey, you need to have more faith in this because of the quantum mechanics and the way that this works and the way that this works. Was Jesus probably smart enough to understand the world and how it works, and could he break it down? Yes, but what did he actually do? He told these stories. He told these parables of what the kingdom of heaven was like, what it was like to tap into this inner reservoir that we all have resting inside, or what it was like to enter this kingdom that some people associate with the afterlife. I think it's something here present right now within us. But what did he do? He said it was like a pearl of great price. It was like a farmer when he went out to the field and he found this pearl in the yard. He would sell the whole farm just to have the worth of the pearl. So it was like this analogy that once you found this thing, once you tapped into this secret, once you tapped into this information, once you tapped into this level of awareness, that You will sell everything else you know. You will get rid of all your other beliefs. You will get rid of all the other things that you believe are maybe controlling your reality, controlling your environment, controlling your day-to-day behavior. And you will focus on this one thing because you truly know that this thing is the most valuable piece of information, the most valuable piece of awareness that you could possibly have in this life. And that awareness or that vibration or that focus was on this concept of the kingdom of heaven. And where did Jesus say the kingdom was? The kingdom is within. So again, and later in a few minutes on this video, we're gonna talk about some practical ways that you can tap into this kingdom, tap into this healing, and access this power that, you know, Jesus said that you would have access to after he left, and probably do greater things than him. I want to teach you how to access that. You know, I might not be all the way there yet, but we're all on the journey. So how can we accelerate that a little bit? But before I do, just to kind of give you the other side of the coin of Jesus's teachings, I believe it not only was the words that he spoke, it wasn't only the things that was written down, but it was the way he lived his life. The man was a miracle worker. The man walked around healing people. The man walked around, causing the blind to see. The man walked around causing the deaf to hear. It says she was bleeding for 12 years. He came, touched the cloak, and said, the blood dried up. By your faith, you are healed. All these different acts of quote unquote miracles, taking 2 pieces of fish and a couple loaves of bread and feeding the multitude, feeding 5,000 people. How was he doing all these things? What did he say the power came from? Did he say it was of myself? Did he say everybody should bow down and worship me right now because I am God and this is how I got all the power because I am, so different than all of you? No, he said, of these things I do, you will do even greater. No power comes to me but the power of through God. And I don't want to be just philosophical in this video when I talk about God and just like in a spiritual context, because I think sometimes that thought can get skewed, like in the mind. It's like, okay, God, what is that? Different people have different interpretations. But I think that if we understand the core of why he was doing it, because the how is a lot less important to any result than the why. The why is always 80% of any result, and the how is just like the 20%. If you have a strong enough why, you'll figure out the how. So why did Jesus teach in this way? Why did he teach healing through this concept? Why did he teach miracles and manifesting your reality and your dreams in this way? Well, I believe it was to show people how good it can actually get. It was to show people the pleasure that can be received on earth. But what religion did, what separation did, what society did, is they told you, no, Jesus was different. Jesus was the Son of God. You can't access this power. This power can only be accessed if you were anointed and born of a divine birth. This is not to be blasphemous or take away anything from Jesus and his divinity here on earth and his ability to do these certain things. But let's not take it from religion's instructions, but what was Christ's actual instructions? What was his instructions on how you can apply this power? Was it to read more of the book? Was it to get more of the law? Was it to follow more of these codes and conducts and be more quote unquote righteous? Was it all these things? No, he said the kingdom is within you, and if you tap in within that, the power of God himself, the Father, lives in you. And when I leave, I will give you the Holy Spirit. He will live in you to teach you all these things. So it's like, he always points within. And to just wrap up this concept, 1 second. Excuse me. But to wrap up this thought and to really tie it with a bow, I think, he taught through, the stories that he taught. He would always speak in a parable on how good it was. Rarely did he ever just give you like practical step-by-step on stuff. A couple times to the disciples when they proved they were worthy. But in order to get access, they had to first, get past that first point, which is being interested, being curious. Like most people have clicked off this video in two minutes. But, if you're actually seeking healing, this is probably interesting to you. So, he taught through the parables. He taught through the way he lived his life and the miracles that performed. But even when you look at his daily routine, when you even look at what he did on a day-to-day basis, yes, he performed miracles, but he gives you the key on how he accessed his power. And this is what translates to how you can begin to access this power today. He said that he would get up very early in the morning, go off somewhere in solitude, and basically pray for hours. And the word pray in the Greek is really similar to the modern English word of meditate, to become familiar with. It was like becoming familiar with oneself. It was becoming familiar with the divinity within. It was becoming familiar with the divine, right? And it says he only did the things that he saw his Father in heaven do. So very little did he go off of instinct, is what that means. Very little did he act off the fleshly instinctual desires that a human has and the way that he made his decisions. His decisions was all made from the awareness that he gathered from being still and going within. So I'm not gonna get too far into like the quantum mechanics and how maybe the whole universe connects and the way that this could, improve the results. That's a topic for a different video. But the key in this video is to understand that the more we focus on how good it can get, the more we focus on the power that we truly have, the more we focus on the benefits of what we can experience out of any experience, any process, any work that we need to do, quote unquote, any painful, any discomfort, the more we can focus on the benefit, the more we can focus on the pleasure we'll gain, the more we can focus on how good it can get. And then through the process of experiencing it, like as you start to move along that journey, in the beginning, it may take faith. It may just take blind faith. You just walk in, hey, I'm just going to believe Jesus that, hey, this is the way. Like if I just do the things that he said to do, I could probably get this power too. And you start walking that direction. My guarantee to you is if you start walking that direction, and walking that direction means going within, meditating, being silent, allowing the present moment to give you the gift of intuition on what to do next and how to approach life, and overall the peace and serenity that you get from not being so damn reactive to all the uncomfortable situations in life, and really trusting and understanding that you are guided and that the frequency that you emit internally is what's going to attract life experiences to you, and that this is how the universe works. And you just, again, learn more about that process. Start to experience the process for yourself. Start to go within. Start to heal. Start to get better. And you start to notice, like, man, I'm feeling better. Life is getting better. I'm attracting better results. I'm getting the relationships I want. I'm meeting the type of friends I want to meet. I'm meeting the type of women or men I want to meet romantically. I'm meeting the type of business relationships and business collaborations that I want to have. I'm getting new ideas for a new business. I'm getting new ideas for how I can be happier, more fulfilled, achieve more. I'm starting to discover information. I'm starting to see these synchronicities. Once you start to go down that process, now that faith turns into an experience, and it's a lot easier to believe in the positive. But in order to keep going, in order to keep going past the limits, in order to keep pushing yourself past the edge, in order to keep raising the standard for yourself, it has to be a constant process on how much life can get better for you. What do you dream? What do you really want to happen in your life? And what if that was true? What if all you had to do was believe that you already have it and it'll be done? That's what Jesus said. So, maybe if you just start to believe that, then your body, your brain, your focus will be conditioned to go towards the direction that you want as opposed to the direction that you don't want, which is probably happening right now on some level, whether it's, within your relationships, whether it's within your family, within your business, within, your health, right? In some area, usually there's always room for improvement if we're going to be humble enough. So if there's room for improvement, I believe that that's a sign that there's room for healing, because from my belief system, you were born perfect, you were born divine love, and the only thing that happened to you was you, as a powerful infinite being in this universe, started to believe some of the stories that society told you about how not powerful you were, how the power was outside of you, how the power was separate from you, how you had to do all these things to receive the power, as opposed to just believe that it's already in you, as opposed to just believe that, as you tap into more of who you truly are at your core, when you tap into more of who you are, being yourself, tapping in deeper, that's where the infinite power reservoir lies to, again, transform your entire life from top to bottom. I'm always a work in progress with this, but I can tell you that from who I was 5 years ago to who I am right now, it's complete night and day, in the results that I experience in the material world, but also the fulfillment I have on an emotional level, and how much I'm able to connect with this peace within. And Again, this is through a lot of trials, a lot of experiments, but I keep coming back to going within. I keep coming back to the meditation. I keep coming back to seeking ye first the kingdom, which is within you, and its righteousness within your own temple, and all these things external will be handed on to you. So hope y'all apply that principle. Some other things that you could do: you could meditate, you could journal. Journal about your past experiences, journal about where you want to go, and then serve others. I think once you grow and heal, the only next obligation is to help others grow and heal, and to give back. And I think that provides its own level of fulfillment awareness that you can't get elsewhere, through elsewhere outside of impacting and serving others. On a fundamental level, I think that's why we're here. If you agree with that, then you're probably still watching this video. I appreciate you if you are. As we focus more on what we want as opposed to what we don't want, then I believe we go more towards it. So give yourself the love today to focus on what you want. Give yourself the grace today to let go of negative stories that you may be focused on right now. And I believe just through that process, you try it out for yourself, but I think, you'll start to see some transformations. And it won't take too long. If you start to make this a practice every day for the next week, next 2 weeks, the next 21, 30 days, 66 days, eventually this paradigm, this shift becomes a habit or a pattern of focus, as opposed to just something that you do one time. So if you do it one time, you do it today, it'll change your life for the day. You'll notice that you feel more happy, more positive for the day. But if you make it a habit, you make it consistent, you make it something that you do every day, then it can change your life and change your destiny and change all the choices that you make for a lifetime. So hope this served you today. If it did, give it a like, comment what you want to see next. Subscribe if you're new. Drop all things on self-improvement, entrepreneurship, spirituality, manifestation, you name it. Becoming the best version of yourself is what we're all about. So if you like content like that, definitely subscribe to stay tuned. We got some nice claims coming for the community of y'all who's been watching me for a little while now. Appreciate you all for being here. I want to continue to give back, serve this community more. I know I've been off for the last couple weeks, just focus on some more business things that we've been just kind of in those beginning stages with. So usually in the beginning, you got to push a little harder to get that momentum. But now we got some momentum going. We got some clarity, some focus. So I definitely want to continue to impact this community and serve you guys in the best way possible. So catch you all in the next one, and have a great rest of your day. Peace.